Introduction to Economics. Roots of Economic Way of Thinking. Adapted from my college notes, taken a couple of years ago, which means between 1979 and 1983. And this is all presented by Doug Bainbridge. One of the first words written on the board in my very first economics class was scarcity. Following that, my notes indicate that it was covered that resources are limited. That is, there's not an unlimited supply of pencils, paper, people, clean air, you name it, money. All these resources are limited. But wants are unlimited. And so, economics apparently sets out as part of its activities to help us all reconcile limited resources and unlimited wants. I noticed in my notes that this scarcity leads to competition because we're all competing for a limited resources. But now that we all consider that we have limited time, perhaps limited resources to obtain goods, then that competition leads to discrimination. In other words, we realize we can't get everything, so we have to break things down into preferences and spend our time on doable activities and obtaining doable goods. And to conclude this section, in other words, we have unlimited choices when considering realistic through all the way to unrealistic choices. But going into that unrealistic realm, we have constraints on our choices. And this in general is how we can use economics to help us decide how to handle our choices while keeping the constraints in mind. To analyze economic situations, we can use models. Two possible virtues of models include they can be simple and they can be useful. Two possible issues with models include they can be unrealistic and imperfect. So we want to be careful when building our models that they do the best job of clarifying what is happening. Concepts to consider. Opportunity cost. There is no absolute measure of value. The value of every good must finally be expressed in terms of other goods. Comparative advantage. In an example using just two people and two activities, this is where perhaps each person is more efficient in one activity than an other activity only in comparison with the other person. We are concerned with the comparative advantage, and for this one person may be worse at both activities, but both can, through some trade agreement, get both jobs done more efficiently. A fictional island economy. Person A. Possibilities are that person A obtains 40 fish if person A only spends a day fishing, and A obtains 10 coconuts if A only focuses on that activity during the day. Moving on to person B. Possibilities are that person B obtains 60 fish if person B only spends the day fishing, and B obtains 60 coconuts if B only focuses on that activity during the day. A fictional island economy continued with person A. Because A decides to obtain fish and coconuts, A works as hard as is possible and in a day obtains 20 fish and 5 coconuts. Person B, because B decides to obtain fish and coconuts, B works as hard as is possible and in a day obtains 30 fish and 30 coconuts. Continuing on with our fictional island economy. Person C arrives and creates a trade agreement with person C, supposing that up until this point person A and person B are not able to communicate with each other. Person C arrives on the scene and C says to person A, produce 40 fish and 0 coconuts, and then give up 15 fish for 6 coconuts. And then C says to person B, produce 18 fish and 42 coconuts, and then give up 8 coconuts for 14 fish. Continuing on, the results of person C's activities. Person C before had 0 fish and 0 coconuts. After the trade agreement, person C has 2 fish and 2 coconuts. Person A before the trade agreement had 20 fish and 5 coconuts, and after had 25 fish and 6 coconuts. Person B before has 30 fish and 30 coconuts, and after 31 fish and 34 coconuts. So everyone wins with this situation. This is an example of a sustainable trade arrangement where all parties gain from the transaction and therefore are motivated to continue this arrangement due to the positive results. To calculate how person C ended up with 2 of each item, I took the total fish minus total kept after the trade agreement by both A and B, and that difference is what is left for person C. Doing the same with the coconuts results as shown above. A fictional island economy. Conclusion. For my discussion below, cost equals the highest foregone alternative. That's how I'm defining cost, is the highest foregone alternative. Person C facilitates an improved economy on our fictional island due to the trade agreement. Person A. A's cost of producing a coconut is 4 fish. A's cost of producing a fish is 1/4 of a coconut and has a comparative advantage. Person B. B's cost of producing a coconut is 1 fish. B is the low-cost producer of coconuts and has a comparative advantage. You may want to remark that this is a nice story, Doug, but how can this relate to the real world? Stripping away the politics and many other than economic variables, this does a good job, in my experience, to describe the ideal and sought-after arrangement that would make living better for people. Until I delve into more complicated subjects, I will not argue for how to best organize society as I see things, as I will initially stick to spreading the economic way of thinking that informs me in my day-to-day life. This is presented by Doug Bainbridge, and I hope you found this useful.